It's day 153. It looks like about a 20-minute long screenwriter's journey today. It's a beautiful day in mid-Michigan at my secret location. The sun is out. Snow is slowly melting, but still covered. Yesterday I went out and flew my drone around a friend's son's house and got some cool footage. But enough about me. Let's talk about my script. All right. So in the middle of this scene with Holly and Lexi, still working on the content, which of course content is king. I'm a very much substance over style person, unlike the Fast and the Furious movies and some other movies that are just excuses for blowing stuff up and fancy editing and over-the-top acting. But enough about me. So I'm trying to figure out still exactly what all I need to get across in this scene. And again, should I do this in my outlining, in my index cards? Yes. All right, guilty. Then the other thing I'm trying to do is maybe tighten it up a little because we're on page 14. And even though the catalyst has been delivered, I wouldn't mind it happening a tiny bit sooner. Transferring gave me an opportunity to direct from so we talked on and off for several years. She asked me everything. I thought it best to wait because 2 days seems like best. Today legal adult. So, I mean, that is a key component. If Holly would have told Lexi when she was whatever, anything less than 18, then legally she couldn't have done anything about it. Of course, she could always, run away from home, run off and try to find her, or maybe she has no interest in finding her, but Holly just didn't want to take that chance. I believe it was the gentleman who gave me all the harsh but valid criticism couldn't really believe that she would not tell her, she being Holly, would not tell her being Lexi sooner than this. But I don't think it's unreasonable. So Lexi's 6, so she would have vague memories of her mom. She probably wouldn't remember, or maybe she would because it was kind of traumatic, the details of the event that separated them, and it would be maybe impressed on her mind or whatever. So, it's not unreasonable that she would say, hey, where's my mom? But I think we get the idea that she's probably, I don't know if she's totally lost interest or just resigned herself as she's grown up to the fact that she's likely never going to see her again. And I don't know that it would be in Holly's best interest to keep updating her as to what her mom was doing, whether Rachel, the mom, wanted her to or not. So that's kind of what I'm debating, and I certainly don't want to bring that debate into the script. Although when Holly says almost right away she wanted me to contact you, and then Lexi says, I've already gone off of that page, something about because you thought I was too immature and I might run off to see her. But now I've got the line in about all because the clock struck midnight, which I've mentioned before. Talk about arbitrary. Suddenly you're an adult and you've got all these rights because you're 1 second older. And that high line of Holly's at the bottom of 14 is one that I used way long ago in a way previous version. I kind of like the idea, but I don't know, in case you heard a weird sound, when I was eating lunch at Chipotle's, I sprayed some soft drink from the fountain. I was trying to get the water to stop because it was I pressed it and it just kept going. So I was fiddling around and I hit one of the other dispensers and I got a bunch of Sprite on my arm. And so I realized that it's still sticky, which is probably TMI. But my point is, the suddenly turning 18, being adult, having all these new responsibilities, or legally able to do this and that. And then Holly says that doesn't mean you can't ask for advice. So Lexi thinks about it and goes, well, I do have a few questions for her. One of which she asks Holly, basically. Holly says it's none of her business. And so, yeah, there's a good example. Holly shoots her out. I'm not buying that glance. I'm not buying whatever. I mean, what's the best way to write that? Holly gives her a skeptical look. Holly looks skeptical, a skeptical glance from Lexi. I don't know. Oh my gosh, Kat. So, all right. So we're back to this getting out of being his wife and my mom, which is kind of a key part of this, as I've said before. So I guess I'm right back where I started yesterday or the day before. All right, let's see if this. So this, I mean, as you can tell by A, the time I'm spending on this, and B, my voiceover, which is probably displaying a little bit of apprehension, AKA, is this really the scene I want? You may be led to the conclusion that this scene may change in content somewhat. And if you believe that, you may be right. And then we still have these. So, I mean, I like the thing with the owl and Lexi getting, I don't know, not really defensive, but kind of upset and realizing that she's just a charity case in her eyes. And then we go to this scene, which is another scene I've been working on for a while, with Katina, who also, I don't know if she is yet, but she is Holly's colleague at the sand volleyball game. So we will see her earlier. So this is the second time. And so really not much changed in that scene. And then we go to Lexi's bedroom. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, now watch how this is going to change. Because remember, Lexi is no longer living at Abby's house because she's been bounced around. And so she's at a group home, which I discovered, and you probably already know this, that foster kids who are not placed live in a, I mean, it's a group home, just what it sounds like, with kids, not of all ages, but probably an age range of maybe 10 or 12 to 16, 18, whatever, until they have to leave. And now that she's 18, she can leave, but I did find out that you could, of your own volition, as the saying goes, you could choose to stay there. So, yeah, that line of the social work is like one of the worst lines of dialogue I've written in a long time. She's not in a great headspace right now. Oh, my goodness. But the beauty is that I have completely changed it up, where Abby is going to this place where she lives, and then she's going to go in and see Lexi, who now is in like a communal type bedroom, kind of, not like a barracks or anything, dorm room-ish maybe, with several beds, 3 beds. And Lexi is obviously unloaded her story on Abby, and then they're having this conversation about it, a lot of which I just had to delete because it's got to change. So Abby's giving her opinion, basically, hey, here's the worst case, here's best case. But then you get closure, because what young person doesn't want closure, whether it's for better or for worse, of some event, traumatic event, if they have the opportunity to. And who knows, maybe some people might say, I don't want to know, but Lexi does. When in doubt, have someone come in and say, one of you needs to leave. So they've still got plans to do something, whatever. Now I think I'm probably getting into filler stuff because, again, if you use that glad, mad, sad, happy, glad, mad, sad, and happy, those are, glad and happy are pretty close. So I can't remember the 4 basic emotions, but if you go into the scene at 1 and you want to end it at something else, it's not super. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm almost throwing up in my mouth reading that dialogue of the social workers. Especially that first line. I cut it and I changed it. I was trying to get across the fact that she does not, strictly speaking, have to leave when she turns 18. And of course she's going to college, but she still could technically come back here. So I'm figuring out how and if I want her to address that, which I just did, because she can stay until she's 21. And this idea of a role model, I still like this, even though it's on the nose dialogue. The idea being that in the same way, sort of, that Holly's been a role model for Lexi, Lexi has been a role model for many of the girls who have come and gone, and who knows, maybe some of them have been adopted. And, excuse me, somewhere that may make her jealous, envious, whatever. But so, as you can see, I am doing a lot of fiddling around here. And interestingly enough, I just noticed this line of the social worker depending what I end up having it be, it may end up coming out of someone else's mouth, not in the same way with the same words, but kind of the same idea. I know it hasn't been easy. Here's another example of someone showing up in a scene just because it's convenient. I mean, sometimes, someone goes to a convenience store and they have something with the clerk or whatever, but this is probably, all her part is pretty much visiting hours end at 10. Because she's not going to appear in the rest of the movie, so why bother saddling her with this dialogue when we could make it take place between 2 people that we've either already know of or that are going to be ongoing characters. Oh my gosh, this is like, the 5th time I've rewritten this line? Now that is a little better, I must admit, because it truly has been, without being too on the nose. And maybe, like I wrote underneath, the compliment catches Lexi off guard. Whether that stays in or not, that's head and shoulders, for me, that's head and shoulders better than the other stuff I was working on. So here we go back to the beginning. Uh-oh. All right, so Holly has had the workout and she's been punching, so now she's got red knuckles, which harkens back to her scene and sort of the dilemma she's having. So now, obviously, Lexi's had a change of heart. I don't know that her mood would lighten any really, but um, she wants her owl back. I thought that kind of a meaningful thing. So my problem, having said that, my problem is, and maybe this isn't a problem, you tell me in the comments. After you subscribe, turn on announcements. No, you subscribe, turn on notifications, and hit the like button. Smash the like button, as some people say. So the problem is that it was like a page and a half ago where they left on bad terms, and now they're like basically sort of making up again. So to me, that's very shallow. It's too contrived, trite, whatever. I would think that not a grudge, but some bad blood between them might have to last a little longer than that. So that's my thoughts on that. So now, man, my nose is getting stuffy again. I apologize. The podcast that I record, I have the same problem and it bugs me. Anyways, talking through my nose. They say it's like talking through your nose too much. I'm trying not to right now. What if I plug my nose and talk like this? All right, sorry, that's so dumb. I should re-record over that. But my rule is not to. So armed with this information, Holly is going to connect with who? Rachel. So, bowling alley. Remember where one of Lexi's jobs was? Bowling alley. Ooh, how underhandedly sneaky. So I thought that instead of Holly just sitting in a house somewhere, I would have her doing something not more meaningful, but a little more visually interesting. Having said that, knowing that this movie, to the producer I'm sending it to, he's looking for $2 million, maybe $3 million properties. I do, and that's not how much he's going to pay me, but I do have the thought that, oh my gosh, every time I add a location, he or whoever reads it is going to go, oh, that's going to be more expensive. Oh, that's going to be more expensive. So, but I at this point, I rather have a good story and not even think about that. I mean, I'm not going to write a $50 million, $100 million picture, but I don't want it to be limited by that, at least for now. And obviously, if he or someone likes it and said, hey, this is great, but we need to trim the locations down and do all that practical stuff that, hey, sometimes you have to do because that's filmmaking. Hey, another thing, I literally didn't just realize this, but at the bottom of my screen in Premiere, I've got a running time, 1848, 1849, and then in the right-hand corner, I've got the total length of the recording, 1956.9. So I've got 1 minute left. So I'm going to try to end it on time. Maybe I'll start doing that. So anyways, they get into this conversation and we found out that they have been in touch. She's agreed to meet with you. And then I have this whole thing where they record their conversation, which, I mean, is kind of interesting. Holly's doing it to cover her butt, but, and I've already got it written here, but I'm going to realize sooner, hopefully rather than later, that this is just too much dialogue. This scene, I don't know how many pages it lasts, but it just needs to really be a lot shorter. So, but again, I want to get all this down so I have it at least on paper, cyber paper, so I can always refer back to it if I need to. That does it for day 153. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow.